Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of the Soul Currency Live. I'm excited to be here and continue this real talk conversation that I started yesterday. So those of you who read what I shared yesterday here on Facebook know that I have been going through some really deep stuff within myself and have been feeling very raw and very real, and I've had to really kind of take time to unplug from all the noise that's going on outside and tune back in. And so today, on today's episode, I wanted to share with you three sort of key components to what is coming up for me in the hopes that it also helps you with whatever it is that you're going through. So the three things are really looking at this idea that the stories we believe are true are the stories we are trying to prove to ourselves. So I'm going to go into that in detail in just a moment, but just really think about that for a second. So the stories that we believe are true are the stories we're trying to prove to ourselves, okay? So that's the first key. The second key is, are you living in alignment, in deep alignment with your heart and soul? And the third one is to know that we are all in this together, and that unless you have reached enlightenment status, you are going to reach these layers within yourself every time you're being called to stretch and grow. So nobody gets a free pass on this. And so I just want to talk to you guys today about these things that have been coming up for me and hope that you resonate with what I'm saying. I'd love to hear from you to see, how this shows up for you as well. And yes, please say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you think that this might be helpful for someone else that you know of, please go ahead and hit share to your page or tag people that you know are friends with me or who are following me or who would like to be a part of this conversation, and just go ahead and tag them and make sure that they start tuning in and watching this as well. So I am just going to ask that, let me see here. I actually am not sure if this is open to the public, so I'm just going to make sure that is happening. So Malia, my dear, if you're watching, if you could share this to the other pages and then just make sure it's open for everyone. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Okay, yeah, this is just for friends. Hold on, I'm just going to change it to public so that it's open. All right, everybody. Okay, so now feel free to share this to your pages or to tag people, and they will be able to see that we are live talking about these three very important topics. And so yesterday, as I was sharing with you, I've just been, and this is so fascinating to me, that in preparation for a workshop or any sort of big transformational group work that I do, I'm always uncovering a deeper layer of what I'm going to be teaching within myself. It is so fascinating to me how this works. So that is what has been going on. Hi, Lisa. And I'm super excited to see you all here. And Rosanna, hello, my dear, and Amy. So thank you for being here. I think that's Becca. Hi, Becca. So, all right, everybody. So I want you to really think about this, because this is something that was coming up for me. And the first thing was that I realized that I was creating from a place that was not really truly in alignment with my why. So those of you who are entrepreneurs, who put yourself out there and basically you're sharing the essence of who you are and what you're passionate about and what you love, and that's really what you're doing professionally as well. I want to know if you can relate to this, okay? So I realized somewhere along the way that something didn't feel like it, that things weren't feeling quite right. Like something didn't feel in alignment. I was recognizing that I had a lot of resistance to things like posting on social media. Like, just to be honest with you, sometimes it totally drains me, and I don't want to do it just to fill the space, fill the virtual realm with more noise. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to follow some sort of formula from some expert out there telling me that I have to show up online at a certain time every day and post a certain amount of times to my social media in order to fulfill my purpose. Do you all hear what I'm saying? Can anyone relate to that? To feeling this feeling of like pressure and overwhelm of having to show up online in a certain way, having to do things in a certain way, having to have your funnels done in a certain way, like just the list building, the funnels, the strategies, how to grow your list, make sure everyone gets on your mailing list, because someday Facebook might never not be here anymore. And then what are you going to do? I mean, there's just, oh my gosh, who can relate to that, right? That you can get really caught up in all the things you think you should be doing. And I recognized at some point that I was just like basically trying really hard. You feel the energy around that. Trying really hard to check that box at the end of the day or the end of the week. And you guys, constantly beating myself up for not checking all the right boxes. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to feeling like I'm not posting as much as I should, or I'm not getting on lives as much as I should, or I haven't started my podcast yet, or all of the things you think you should be doing in order to fulfill your purpose? Who can relate to that? To feeling like there's this long list of things that you think you need and that you think you should be doing, and if you aren't doing them, you feel bad, like there's shame, there's guilt. You feel like, oh my gosh, I'm somehow not living up to what I should be doing to fulfill my purpose. And it hit me so hard last week because, it's like, that's not why I'm doing this work. I'm not doing this to hit a certain number, or to be more attractive to a publishing company, that the publishing company actually gives me the time of day because I have over 20,000 followers on Instagram. It started with, and it has been for over 22 years, this deep desire to not only heal myself and continue to be on that path of healing for myself, but to help others awaken, heal, and transform in their own lives. And when you get caught up in all of the noise and all of the things you think you should be doing, you lose touch with your why. It's like last week it just hit me and I just broke down because I realized that even though there's a part of me that's still connected, I wasn't creating consciously, intentionally creating from that place of deep alignment in my soul, where I am seeing you on the other end, where those of you who are out there who are struggling, that have difficult relationships, that are struggling to heal from your pain and the trauma of your past, that are struggling to be empowered and free and know how to just live your life in true alignment with your soul, I lost touch with creating from that place of my why, creating from the place of why I'm doing this in the first place, why I have been committed to this my entire adult life. I've been on this journey for a long time and got caught up in all of the things I think I should be doing in order to reach the people I'm being called to serve. But that's not the right place to be creating from. That energy doesn't serve, because it's just trying to check the checkbox off of a list of things I think I should be doing. So I just want to check in with you guys. And those of you, especially those of you who are entrepreneurs, can you relate to this? Can you feel me? Give me some hearts, give me some likes. Let me know that you feel me. Let me know that you understand what I'm saying, because I feel like we all really can, right? And so when I became aware of this and recognized, hey, there are some things that my soul has been nudging me to do these past couple of years that haven't happened. So let me just stop, let me pause and get really honest with myself and take inventory, right? And that's where that piece comes in from, the stories that we believe deep down. And these are stories that are totally unconscious. You don't realize that you are operating from this place of deep down, from this place of fear, right? So what are the stories that you believe are true about what is and isn't possible for you? And those are the stories that you are going to be trying to prove to yourself. that they are true. And that's what you're going to be looking for. You're going to be constantly searching for evidence to back that up and to prove to yourself that you're right. Okay, so this is a huge thing that I work with all of my clients on, is really helping them to identify, to discover what those stories are deep down, because we can only stop these patterns from occurring in our life if we recognize what the programming is. And so that's what we're really doing in inner work, is becoming aware of the deeper programming that's running in the background, the stories that we believe are true, and how that's showing up for us. So some of these stories that I recognized, oh God. So I said, I'm really raw and real right now. So thanks for holding space for me in this moment, because I think these topics are just really huge, and I know I'm not alone. And, so recognizing, okay, these are the things my soul has been telling me to do and they haven't happened. And one of those things is my soul wants to write this book. It wants to share my journey, my 15-year Eat, Pray, Love journey around the world, where I went through that moment of awakening. I know what it's like to get the wake-up call and to pick up the phone and say, okay, I'm ready, right? I know what it's like to navigate through your awakening, your spiritual awakening, to heal yourself, body, mind, and spirit, and to start following the nudges of your soul. And these last couple of years, I've been hearing those nudges, and I haven't been showing up fully for it, right? I've been getting distracted by the things I think I should be doing, and wanting to, having this deep desire to help and to serve, but using those things as a distraction, because I'm a visionary and I love creating. So it's easy for me to think that those are the things that are getting in the way of me showing up for these soul nudges, right? So the excuse, the story is, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the capacity to write my book. And so I've been getting myself in this situation where my soul's telling me to do something and I'm not showing up for it fully. I keep finding reasons why it's not the right time, or I don't have the time. Okay. And so I had to really stop and go, what is the story that is underneath that? And my incredible husband, who is so amazing and can hold space for me and reflect what's going on deep down inside of me, I got so lucky. He brought this to my attention just recently and said, isn't there a story deep down that you don't finish things? And he was right. He was right. So, what is that story about? Like, what is that story about? What is that story trying to protect me from? Okay. So all of these stories that we create are trying to protect us from a fear deep down. Sorry. Okay, this is a deep one today. All right. Okay, so I want you to think about that as well in your life. What are some of the stories that are determining how you show up for yourself? What are some of the stories that determine how you're showing up in your relationships? Whether or not you are acting on those nudges, right? Those whispers from your soul, the butterfly that keeps landing on your shoulder and whispering to you what it is that you are supposed to do to move forward in a more empowered and soul-aligned way. What are the stories that are getting in the way of you taking action for yourself in a healthy and loving way? So if you're willing to, just jump on and write some of that. So let others know that they're not alone. Share what the story is for you that's deep down coming up for you in your life, that's preventing you from showing up for yourself, from showing up for your partner, from showing up for your children, from showing up for your calling, your invocation. What are the stories that are keeping you from showing up fully? So just take a moment to think about that for yourself. Right? And once you identify the story, like, I don't finish anything. I've got a lot of evidence to back that up. I start a lot of things and I don't finish them. I also have evidence that the opposite is true, but what am I choosing to focus on? Okay, do you hear me? So it's not that that is the absolute truth. It's that I've been searching for evidence to back up that story for a long time. So that's where my energy is going. So that's what I'm trying to prove to myself is true. Okay, so I'm creating situations where I can sabotage myself from following through so I can prove the story that I can't follow through. But what is the story trying to protect me from? All right, so take a deep breath and drop into your heart and just connect to that place in you that knows the truth. So if you connect deep down and you ask yourself, what is the story trying to protect me from? Because underneath the story is a fear. So for me, what is the fear deep down? And underneath that story of I don't finish anything. So, well, if I don't finish anything, well, then what, right? So, well, then I won't know if it's going to fail or not. I don't even have to fail if I don't finish the book, right? So if I finish the book and it doesn't reach a certain number or a certain audience, how have I defined success around that specific topic? And really looking at that. So how have I defined success? And if I don't reach that mark, am I a failure? And what is going to happen if I put it out there and then I realize that I'm not really good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't deserve a seat at the table. Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't deserve to be up on that stage. Someone's going to find out that I'm not really who they think I am. So this all comes down to something called imposter syndrome. Has anybody ever heard of it? Give me some hearts and likes if you've heard of imposter syndrome. If you find that place within yourself where deep down, subconsciously, there's a part of you that's afraid that you're not going to be able to deliver what people expect of you, or you feel like somehow just by some sheer luck you got to where you are in life and that you don't actually deserve to be there. Who can relate to that? Who can relate to that? I certainly can. Okay, I certainly can. And 70% of you can relate to it. 70% of the population have admitted to having some form of imposter syndrome. Okay, so look it up, and there's a quiz. I can post the quiz later on. One of my people that I just love and adore and I follow, she's kind of like my spirit animal, Raw Goddess. She did a video on this last week, and that sort of ignited all of this shifting in me to really recognize, is this showing up for me? How is this showing up for me? And how is this blocking me from doing the thing that my soul has been calling me to do, right? And so underneath the story is the fear of being found out, the fear of not deserving a place at the table, the fear of not being enough, educated enough, smart enough, connected enough, whatever enough. So what is your story or fear of not being enough? And so underneath that for you, I mean, it could be, there's a collection of core fears that we all share. And so deep down, what is the fear for you? Is it that you're not lovable? Maybe this is in regards to finding your soulmate or a relationship, or even friendships. I know a lot of women who struggle deep down with this fear that they aren't enough in some way, right? That they're going to be rejected, that nobody's going to want to be friends with them, that they're unlovable on some level, that they're not worthy of love and belonging, or you're not worthy of that seat on the table, or you're not worthy of that stage. Who can feel me on this? Who hears what I'm saying? Let me know what the fear is for you. And I'm seeing a lot of comments coming through, so I just want to check in with where you're at and what's coming up for you, okay? So Carrie Ann, hi, my dear. Yes, so she says she was super afraid of that for a long time and that she wasn't good enough, but no longer allowing that fear to determine my path. Amen, sister. I am so happy for you, right? And awareness is always the first step, okay, you guys? Awareness is always the first step. And I want to say to you, all of you, and even to Carrie Ann, right, that every time we're reaching a new level, we're about to stretch and grow, another more subtle, deeper layer of that old program comes up for us. And so no matter where someone is at. So if you look out there to the people that you admire and you're like, oh my gosh, like Oprah, or, whoever it is that you follow and that you admire, you look at them, your gurus, your teachers, your guides, and you're like, wow, they must be X, Y, and Z. So you think for some reason that they're free from the not enoughs. Well, let me tell you something. Unless you have reached enlightenment status, unless you're like this with JC, like you are embodying Christ fully and you are living your life from the level of consciousness that he did, you're still going to bump up on these layers within yourself, because every time you're being called to grow, you've got to go back into that cocoon and dissolve the old so that you can grow a new set of wings and you can fly even higher. So I had this interesting thing come up yesterday when I wrote this post, and this was someone who knew me from like my previous life. So he knew me as the wellness guru. And he wrote to me, private messaged me, and he was like, hey, Heather, I just wanted to reach out, and I read your post and thank you for sharing. And, a part of that, what he was sharing was saying, hey, I was just so surprised to see that you who you are and all that you bring and all of your years of working in this industry and working with holistic health and healing and wellness and empowerment and inner work, that you are sharing something like this, right? And so I want to just take a moment so that we can kind of agree together to just get rid of this idea that whoever it is that you're looking up to and that you admire isn't struggling with the same damn fears as you are, because they are. And every time they are being called to grow into a new level, you got to stretch and growth. Remember growing pains when you were growing up? Literally pain from growing. And so every time we're being called to grow and stretch outside of our comfort zone, we are going to uncover another deeper layer inside of ourselves. So who can relate to that? Who can relate to reaching a certain place within yourself where you go, yeah, I got this. I healed that story. I healed that pattern. I feel good. That part of me is complete. And then somewhere down the road, you're like, oh, damn, there it is again, right? I thought I was done with this. I thought I was fully standing in my worth and my confidence, and I was moving forward and I was embracing that part of me. And so just know it's just a normal part of growth. It's a normal part of your evolution. So if you're, moving forward on your path and you're showing up for yourself and you're in alignment and you keep walking from that place of alignment, at some point when you're getting called to grow and stretch and get bigger, remember, you got to go deep down and dissolve the old again so that you can grow a new set of wings. Okay. And so I want to share with you, just before we jump off today, that one of the things that I just keep coming back to, and this is why I'm so excited for this week, Saturday, for the Soul on Fire workshop, because this is what we're going to be working through. We're going to really go deep into uncovering those themes, like the stories that you tell, and uncovering the fear deep down so that you can do the healing work. And all of this comes back to the deeper part in us that began when we were a child, okay? So these stories and our fears, that deeper programming, has been there for a really long time. So part of the healing process, a part of how you integrate this within yourself, is creating a new relationship with the part in you that is still looking at life through that lens. And that, my friends, is called your inner child. Okay. And it's this, if you don't know about the inner child, look it up online. There's a ton of stuff out there. Psychologists, psychiatrists use this term. They know about this term. People in the inner work realm who do a lot of deep healing help people to heal with the inner child. Saturday is going to be all about rediscovering that beautiful little child inside of you who just needs, more than anything, your love and attention, okay? So the part of me, I'm going to bring it back to me again, the part of me that is operating still out of that lens of fear that somebody's going to find out, or, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of not being worthy of having a seat at the table with the big kids, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Right? So that part in me is like this little child. So think about that part, like think about a child that you adore more than anyone, more than anything on the planet, that this child is just so precious and so beautiful. You would do anything for this child. So that could be your own child, or if you're not a parent yet, think about your nieces or nephews, or just the kids that you've surrounded yourself with throughout the years, and think about what would happen if that 4-year-old or that 5-year-old was just breaking down and crying and saying to you, I just don't think anybody's going to like me. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Nobody likes me. Nobody loves me. Like that child is coming from that place of like, oh my God, I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be rejected. I'm not safe here. Okay. I'm not worthy. Nobody likes me, right? Where do I fit in all of this? So a lot of us who are sort of creatives and who are healers have gone through deep pain around a fear of not belonging, like not knowing where we quite fit in, especially all of us who are, what is called an indigo soul. So those of you indigo adults out there know what I'm saying, right? So, we've just had this feeling growing up, like, where do I fit in? Like, where do I belong? Like, I'm a chameleon. I can fit in anywhere, but never really feel like I truly belong, right? Because you know what, you guys, that sense of belonging comes from deep down inside. And this Saturday, I'm going to share a really profound healing that I had recently around this specific issue. And it's just been like, whoa, miracles, just absolutely beautiful. And so I want you to know, if you are facing some sort of upper limit within yourself, within your relationships, that there is a way to heal. There is a way to integrate. There is a way to shift and move beyond, so that you can, settle into your new set of wings and get comfortable and start flying, and then embrace and be open to the next time you're being called to grow, right? Because we're here growing and evolving. That's what we're here to do. So the journey ends, I believe, when our spirit decides to leave our bodies, right? So that's when growth stops. So we are always being called to grow, heal, and evolve. That's what we're here doing. That is just a part of nature. We are designed to grow, heal, and evolve, always, to just be constantly evolving. And so embrace it, and know that there is that little child inside of you that, more than anything, every time you hit one of these stories, every time you uncover the deep fear deep down, that's when you get to just love on that part in yourself, like you would comfort the little child. Think about that little girl who's 4 years old, who's saying to you, I'm just afraid nobody's going to like me. I'm just afraid I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. So what does she need to, or he need to hear from you? Okay. So I just want to invite you to be thinking about that. And those of you who are joining me on Saturday, get ready, y'all, because this is going to be a very powerful day of healing and awakening. And I cannot wait to see you there. So I hope that this video today, I hope this Soul Currency Live inspired you. I hope that you feel empowered as a result of this. And if you feel like these messages will help someone, please just share it to your page. Invite others to just tag them in the comments if you feel like someone you know and love would benefit from hearing this, because I believe this is the message that everyone on the planet needs to hear. And can you imagine the whole world catching on to this idea? Can you imagine a world like that? I certainly can. And I am holding that vision in my heart, and my commitment to you is to only be creating from that place of deep alignment in my heart and soul, and holding you and your pain and your struggle and your trauma that you're overcoming in my heart every time I show up here, every time I post something to social media, with the prayer that it reaches the people that it is being called to reach, the woman or the man who is in pain and struggling in their relationships and doesn't know, should I stay or should I go? Anyone who is dealing with any sort of pain, which we all are, right? So that is my commitment to you. My commitment to you is to move forward only in alignment, to only show up here if I'm in alignment, and to create from that place of alignment and to write from that place of alignment. And there's a lot of stuff shifting for me, as you can tell. So I am shifting and reorganizing how I do my business moving forward so that I can create space, create that sacred space to show up for myself and transform that story. So thank you so much for being here today, for holding this space for my vulnerability, and just share with me where you're at and how this has touched you. Please share if you can relate to this and in what way. I would just love to hear from you. And if you need support on moving through these steps, remember that you can always jump on a call with me and have a free coaching call with me. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. And I would love to be able to just hold that sacred space for you and help you identify what the fear is underneath the stories you tell, or even just identify the stories that are blocking you from really fully standing in and acting from that place of alignment with your own heart and soul, with your why. So I love you all so much. Enjoy this beautiful Monday. And those of you who are going to be with me on Saturday, get ready. I cannot wait, and make sure you've been paying attention to all of the emails I've been sending out in preparation for this weekend. So love you all, and I will talk to you next week, Monday. Bye, everybody.